what up people. So this is my very first YouTube video, and I've been thinking about doing that for a long time, but it never happened because I always look very stupid when I'm talking in the with the camera to the camera, and I just don't like it. But well, why not, right? So you have to try and see how it works. And the particular reason I'm doing this is because about 2 months ago I left a comment on a video talking about if you're a freelance designer, you're going to be a starving artist. And then I just left a comment and say like, hey, that's not true, and I'm not starving right now, and I'm still doing okay. And that comment was mostly just respond to the idea that being a freelancer cannot make a living, and you cannot feed your families and all that stuff. So again, I think that's not true. So I just want to make a video to talk about like what I think as a freelancers and how we as a freelancer can survive. But before I talk about all this stuff, I just want to make sure that you know that I'm not really smart, and I didn't know a lot of things, and most of this knowledge I do learn from other people, especially the people on YouTube. So there's a lot of people talking about great things about how to run a business while you're a designer, or how to design just like you're running a business and all this stuff. So there's a lot of knowledge on the internet. I learned from a lot of different things, and I just want to put like all those things I learned from other people into one video, and something works for me and something doesn't work for me, and something you should avoid doing. So yeah, that's basically what I want to talk about, and this is the very first video, and I may talk about some of the stuff as well. As you may know that, I mean, this design thing is huge, and there's a lot of aspects in design. There's like product design, there are web design, there graphic design, print material, logo design, illustration, and all that stuff. So before I get into all these things, something about myself. If you don't already know, from my YouTube name, my name is Caleb, and I'm a product designer, and I founded a design studio called Alfeo about 1.5 years ago. And what we do is we do business with the startups in San Francisco, and we do have many other clients from around the world as well, but mainly we focus on building relationship with the startups in San Fran. And so that's a little bit background about myself. So what I can tell you guys is like freelancing can make a living, but how? So here's what I think. So there are a few points I particularly want to talk about. So the first one is, if you really want to make this a sustainable business, you have to know yourself. You have to know if you can really do that or no, which means like you have to know your skill. You have to be honest with yourself and just ask yourself like, am I good enough right now to be a freelancer? Is there a lot of things I still need to learn to improve myself in order to have people to reach out to me and pay me to actually do the work? Or do I still rely on a lot of things that maybe reaching out to a creative directors and ask for advice and all that stuff? So are you ready to be a designer, freelancer? So that's one thing that's really hard, and I asked myself as well when I first started, am I ready? I mean, I started when I was 4 years into my career, right? So it was a little scary, but I did make the jump to just quit doing full-time job and just do my own thing on my own business. So that's one thing that I didn't regret. So but yeah, honestly, just ask yourself, is there still a lot of things that you have to learn from other people? If yes, you may as well just stay in the company and just learn from other people for maybe 1 year or 2 more. Just improve your skill, because this is really competitive. I can say like this freelance thing is super competitive. You're not only competing with the people around you, but you're competing with the people internationally. So as a client so how are clients when they reach out to freelancers, right? There's like a bunch of freelancers online they can pick from. Why would they particularly want to work with you? Maybe because of the location, but mostly location is secondary. What is very important is like your skill. So they choose to work with you because you have skills that they cannot find anywhere else. If they can find the same kind of skills in other countries and with cheaper price, they're definitely gonna go for that option, right? So you cannot win those kind of business. So first thing is, honestly, just ask yourself, compare your work to other people. Do you think that your work is valuable? Do you think that people are going to pay for your services? So if your answer is yes, then yeah, you have to first check mark, maybe you can be a freelancer or run a business like myself right now. The second thing is it's really competitive, first thing, and it's very competitive, and that's very hard to get work to do as well. One reason why I say that is like I don't want to work for pennies. Like I don't want to work for people that don't have a budget that can afford me to pay. Because let's say if you take 100 jobs and each job pay you $1, would you prefer working for 100 clients, or would you prefer to work for one client that can pay you that $100, right? So to me, I think it's more about like the quality of work that you do and more selective to how you choose clients. So that's one thing is that actually very important as well. Like your time, you can only have 24 hours in your day. How can you distribute this 24 hours? Do you want to spend each 1 hour working on one different thing, or you want to spend like all your 24 hours working on just one thing and make that thing really, really good and your clients is really happy about? So I do believe that you should charge more, and you should keep charging more as your skill improve and as your value of the work you provide increase. So just keep charging more every time when the client come to you. If you think that you can provide better value because your experience is more, because your client base is more, you have more referrals, so you can like keep raising your price a little bit. Me myself, I would say like when I first started working as a freelancer, I started with hourly rate, and right now I'm way over that already. So but again, sometimes I know like it's really hard. It's sometimes just not up to you. When you don't have work, when I don't have any work to do, I do lower it, just to make sure that my life is not going to be miserable without work and just doing nothing. But I do have another point of what to say when you actually don't have any work to do, because you know, like as a freelancer, you're not gonna always be very super busy, right? So you have like uptime, you have low time. So that's the second point is keep charging more when it's possible. Charge by value, don't charge don't charge. Actually, there's a huge other topic about like how should you charge your services, but we will cover that in another video. So that's something maybe I can talk more about as well. I've been like, man, I've been really thinking about the pricing thing. So yeah, another video. So the third thing is, as I mentioned, there is definitely times that you have a lot of work, and there's times that you don't really have a lot of work. So what are you gonna do with your time that you're just sitting around and doing nothing, right? So for me, I would say within the a year and a half I've been doing this, there will be maybe like a quarter of time, maybe less than a quarter of time, I actually don't really have things to do. So how I spend those time is I just improve, like I use those time to improve myself as a designer. How can you improve yourself, right? There's a lot of things you can do to improve yourself. Either go online watching videos like this one, or watching other people talking about how they run a business. How can you generate more leads? How can you find potential, like more higher potential prospects? How do you actually close deal? And there's a lot of things you should learn as a designer, or as right now if you're a freelancer, you're not just a designer, you're actually a business owner, because you're running your business, and your product is yourself. So you're selling your skill, and your product is just yourself. So how can you manage all this time? There's just a bunch of things that besides design stuff you can learn, but more practical stuff is I spend about like 2 months just when I don't have a lot of work to do. I just spend the time to improve my portfolio. So there must be a lot of things that you can do when you don't have work to do. And me myself, I do coding as well, so I do front-end development, so I know how to make a website, not just design. I know how to make it happen. So I spend all those time just gathering all my previous work and just build my portfolio into a more presentable format, so people can actually look at my portfolio and reach out to me easily, not just looking at it and don't know where to contact. So there's just a bunch of things you can do. Improve your Dribbble portfolio, improve your social media, so people can easily find you. So there's a bunch of work that you can do and potentially increase your value as a designer. So I think that's very, very important. Just keep improving your value, and whatever you do, like think about like you as a product. So we all as is a product. I would say like everybody, like nobody is not a product. Everybody is a product. How you present yourself, how do you market yourself, how do you sell yourself. So you as a freelancer, you become a business right now, you become a product, and you want to sell yourself. And how do you increase your value when you sell it? Sell it yourself like a package. When you learn a new thing, you can sell it. Hey, I know, let's say I know illustration now, so I can sell myself higher as a package to other people. So always increase your value. I'll always increase your skill in many different areas: sales, design, maybe development. So the last thing in this video I want to talk about is just don't oh, actually there's another thing. So before the last thing is one really good things about being a freelancer, just really good. I mean, you can't get it anywhere else unless you work for a crazy company that have a huge amount of work. So one thing I learned, and I love doing that, is so for like over the last year, I've worked for more than 10 startups. Actually, I've worked for more than 20 startups, but not all of them has a lot of work, and not all of them has things that I can put on my portfolio. But within that 20, I have maybe around like 10 clients that I actually help them design a bunch of things, and these bunch of things just make myself just increase my value a bunch. And I wouldn't be able to do that when I was working with an agency for a company, but right now I have the ability to choose whatever I want to work on and whenever I want to spend time on. So things are just so much more flexible. The amount of work coming in and the amount of work that I can use on my portfolio and potentially again increase my value as a designer is a lot. So the more thing you do, the better a designer you seems to be. If you only have I know there's a lot of like talking about how you should show your work to other people, but to me, the more thing that clients can potentially look at your portfolio and see that these are the type of work you do, the better. So I'm not saying that you should put like just every single thing on your portfolio. You may want to filter out only the best thing. Just give it a rating, right? So you can rate your work from 100, from a 0 to 100. Only put the thing that you think is more than 80 to your portfolio. If it's like less than 80, just don't put it, just forget it. Because one bad thing is gonna kind of make your portfolio look bad. So you don't want people to look at that thing and judge you because of that horrible work you put on your portfolio. So just put thing that is maybe like over 80 to your Dribbble account, to your personal portfolio website. Just keep the quality higher. So the very last thing I want to talk about is just don't get frustrated. Like think about this whole freelancing thing. Don't get frustrated by the whole like I would say designer community. I know there are a lot of people charging like nothing. Like they charge, I don't know, like they charge like, well, like $500 to be a website, and if you compare to India or compare to other countries, right, like they don't have to spend a lot of money on their cost of living is just very low. And if you compare yourself to those people, you can never win them. So one more thing is, don't get frustrated. There's a huge difference pricing from this two ends of the world. I can tell you, like in let's say in the States, I'm in Canada, but I know a lot of people from the States, they're actually charging quite a lot of money. Even I would tell you, like one website, you can build a website design, not just a simple website for sure, but a pretty like established website. You can even build it for $1 million. How many years do you have to work in a company to make $1 million? Or so what I want to say is like the potential is a lot, but don't compare yourself to other people that are charging no money at all, or maybe that makes sense for them because like maybe the cost of living to live for a month is well like $50, then they charge $500. It makes total sense for them. But if you're paying well like $2,000-3,000 per month for your rents, then it would make sense for you to charge that. So don't get frustrated. There are definitely a lot of people that are charging a lot of money. I would say a pretty standard rate in the States, at least in the San Francisco area. If you're in that area, people usually charge more than $70 per hour. I would say like that's like pretty much a rates that you would get if you have intermediate skill. So if you're more than that, people charge around like, I know, $100 per hour or even $200 per hour. But again, the whole pricing thing is another topic. I don't really charge per hour right now, but something that we can discuss later on. So again, don't get frustrated. The pricing thing, people can charge a lot of money. It really depends on your skill and depends on what you can do. I know that like some clients, they're really willing to pay good money for the good work. They don't care about the budget. And think about like some companies, right? If they make $10 million per year, it would make sense for them to pay you $1,000 per website, right? So it really depends on like what kind of people you talk to, and how do you engage with people, how do you present yourself, what's your value, what are the things that you can provide to your clients, and what you can potentially make for these people. For some reason, the video just got cut off. So what I want to say is like, by closing the video, I want to say like, there's a lot of things that we can discover and talk about, and there's a lot of topics that potentially I can share with you guys too. So some things like, how do you actually approach a project, how do you reach out to clients, how do you find potential clients. There's a bunch of ways I explore it and I tried to finding potential prospects, and how do I generate leads from the people, how do people actually reach out to me for more work, or how do I learn coding? Is coding really important? Which I think it is. So there's a bunch of things, but whatever you guys want to talk about, just let me know. Maybe leave a comments below, then maybe I can discuss those things as well. But overall, before I close it, I just want to thank just like people online for sharing a lot of great knowledge. And that's just like one thing why I'm doing this as well. I'm not really doing this for making money, so I don't plan to really monetize like the videos instead. But I do want to like share my thinking, my knowledge with other people, because I think like that's what build the community better. Just everybody share about like what they know and how they succeed in their life, and so other people can learn from it. So I think like that's how we move the entire that's how we move the entire world forward and make a better place for everybody. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll definitely give you guys posted when I have a next video, but yeah, keep checking out for the next one. Cheers.